The story of the movie begins with a person named Colton. Colton inside a museum in Mexico. Colton is searched very carefully. This museum is the headquarters of the Mexican Mafia. Colton enters the museum and takes the elevator. Two Mafia members enter with him in the elevator. When the elevator closes, Colton kills the two people in the elevator. When the elevator door opens, Colton is surprised by the presence of a large group of gang members. As usual, Colton manages to kill them with ease. After that, he enters a room where the nephew of the gang leader is located. There were also men from the gang in the room, and he killed them easily. And we know that this gang has kidnapped the daughter of Clinton's sister, whose name is Haley. Colton shows Haley's photo to the gang leader's nephew, and asks him to tell him where she is. And he tells him that if he doesn't tell him where she is, he will kill him. Meanwhile, one of the people goes to the museum security and tells them what happened, and they ascend to the top. As for Colton, he takes the gang leader's nephew to tell him where Haley is. When Colton reaches the room the gang leader's nephew told us about, he finds Haley. Then he takes the gang leader's nephew out of the room and kills him. And he is surprised by the museum security attack on him, and gets into a fight with them, and he can kill them too. And then he returns to save Haley and also takes a USB flash drive containing dangerous information. And then he goes out with Haley from the museum. In this scene, Colton and Haley cross the border to return to America. Haley thanks him for saving her. Haley asks Colton why she was kidnapped by the gang, and what they want from her. He tells her that this question should be directed to her stepfather, because he is the reason for everything that happened. In this scene in Mexico, we see the gang leader, who is Garcia. He bids farewell to his nephew, who was killed by Colton. Garcia talks to his other nephew, whose name is Cross, and tells him to be ready to avenge his brother. Garcia asks him about what happened. He tells him that they were the kidnappers of Haley, who is the son of Mark, who was working with them, and that they had kidnapped her because Mark had deceived them on one of the missions. He tells him that a stranger came and freed Haley. Garcia asks about the flash RAM that was there. He tells him that Colton took him. When Garcia finds out about what happened, he gets very angry, and he asks Cross to kill Colton because this person managed to kill an entire gang. Here we see that Colton and Haley have arrived at the house of his mother, Haley. When Haley arrives, she hugs her mother. Haley's mother thanks Colton for saving her daughter. Haley's mother is Colton's sister, but they were at odds because of Haley's mother marrying Mark. Colton tells his sister that the gang will come and kill you. He asks her to run away as soon as possible. Here we see a police officer named Casper, who is a corrupt officer, and be a collaborator with the Mexican gang. In this scene, Garcia calls Casper. Garcia tells him what happened and tells him that he will send Colton's information and that he must kill him without any excuse. When Garcia sent Colton's pictures, Casper was surprised and told him that Colton was a former soldier and that he was one of the most skilled and brave soldiers. But he's on the run now and the US police are looking for him. Garcia tells Casper to go to Haley's mom's house and arrest Colton because he thinks he's there. We see here that Haley and her mother are preparing themselves to escape with Colton, who was watching the place. Here we see the Garcia gang on their way to come to the house of his mother, Haley. And when Colton goes out with his sister and her daughter, they are surprised by Mark's ability. He blames his wife for contacting Colton and freeing her daughter. He tells her that they will be in danger because of what her brother did. Mark asks them to go with him to escape, but Colton objects to him and tells him that he is the reason for what happened to them and that he will not allow them to go with him. And they decide to leave Mark and go. While putting their bags in the car, they see the police coming towards them. Colton tells his sister that these policemen were sent by Garcia, but she tells him that she will talk to them and that he should hide because they are looking for him. Colton goes into hiding. After that, Haley's mom met Officer Casper, who brought two policemen with him. Casper watches Mark outside the house and asks the two policemen to arrest him. And then Casper asks Haley's mom about Colton's whereabouts. She tells him that they haven't met Colton for many years, because there is an old quarrel between them. But Casper insists that Colton is inside. Casper asks Colton to turn himself in without causing any injuries on either side. But Colton did not respond, and then Casper asked the two policemen to go to the house. After entering the house, Colton beats them. Colton gets out, takes the car and runs away. The two policemen follow him and a violent chase ensues. Casper apprehended Haley and her mother. We see Colton trying to escape from the police. After the chase, they collide with his car and stop him, but when they go to his car, they are surprised that he is not inside the car. Garcia and his gang come to Mark's house, and Casper tells him that Colton has run away, and he told him that he had sent 2 policemen to chase him. Garcia tells him that 2 cops aren't enough to track down Colton. Garcia asks Cross to take someone with him and they search for Colton. Mark apologizes to Garcia for the mistake he made on one of the missions. But Garcia does not accept his apology and kills him. He tells his gang that no mistakes are forgiven. Haley and her mother are shocked by this view. Garcia goes and asks Haley's mom about the USB flash RAM Colton had. But she tells him that she knows nothing about him and has no information about him. The police are still looking for Colton. Colton hits one of the policemen but does not kill him because Colton does not kill the policeman. But another policeman was behind him and asked him to turn himself in. Indeed, Colton drops his weapon and turns himself in. At this moment, one of the gang members arrives. They shoot Colton and the police. A police officer is killed by Cross. Colton protects and saves the second policeman, and they exchange fire. Cross tells Clinton that he needs his USB flash RAM and that they will leave him. Clinton and the cop who is with him decide to kill Cross and escape. While Clinton and the policeman are moving, Cross manages to kill the policeman. As for Clinton, he managed to kill the other person with Cross. Colton keeps shooting until he runs out of ammunition, and then he gets into a fight with Cross. Cross was fighting Colton in order to take revenge for his brother, who was killed by Colton. Coltot hits Cross and manages to kill Cross. In this scene, we see that Garcia is at his mother's house, Haley, and tries to contact Cross, but Cross does not answer his calls. Garcia learns that Cross may have been killed by Clinton, so he decides to send 2 more people to him. Garcia asks Casper about Clinton and asks for his information. Casper tells Garcia that Clinton is a solid soldier, and that he fled from the army because of his disobedience to the commander's order in the war on Iraq. But Haley's mom tells Garcia that Colton disobeyed the commander's order not to participate in the killing of innocents. And if he had participated, he would have shamed himself for the rest of his life. And she tells them she is confident that Colton will return and kill them. In this scene, 2 men from Garcia's gang see Colton and try to hit him with a car. Colton manages to kill a gang member. As for the second, Colton manages to avoid him and makes him hit the car with the mountain and go to him and ask him about what is inside the USB flash RAM and why it is so important. He tells him that inside the USB flash are all the gang's information and cash. It also contains all their confidential files and criminal operations. Colton knew this USB flash drive was very important to the Garcia gang. Then he kills him. Then Colton goes to his sister's house to rescue her and her daughter. In this scene, we see Garcia quarreling with Casper, because Casper was worried about the 2 policemen he sent to pursue Clinton. Casper asks Garcia to leave him and not use him to help the gang. Garcia tells Casper that he will kill his wife and son. Casper decides to help Garcia because of his fear. Colton arrives at his sister's house and starts policing the place. Then he approaches a member of Garcia's gang and manages to kill him. Garcia watches from the window the corpse of one of his gang members. He learns that Colton is near the house, so he decides to take Haley and her mother out and threaten Colton with them. Garcia tells Colton that if he doesn't get out, he'll kill his sister and her daughter. Colton decides to go outside and starts getting closer. Garcia asks a gang member to search Colton for a USB flash RAM. When he searches Colton, Colton beats him up. Then Colton blows up a gas tube, distracts the gang, and enters the house with his sister and daughter. A shootout starts between Colton and the gang. Colton takes shelter in the house. Then Haley's mother takes the weapon and shoots the gang as well, but Colton tells her to go upstairs with Haley. Haley contacts the police for help. In this scene, we see Casper speaking to his son on the phone, but suddenly information reaches Casper that Haley is seeking help from the police. The phone Haley had is shot and broken. Colton continues to fight with Garcia's gang members. Haley's mom receives a gunshot wound by mistake. Colton engages in a fight with a person and was close to killing Colton, but Colton manages to kill him. Garcia was waiting for Colton to come out of the house, and he kept calling out to his gang members who had entered the house, but as we know, they were all killed by Colton. Garcia knew Colton had managed to kill them, and Garcia decided to send others, and they began to attack the house. Here we see Colton telling his sister and her daughter to escape through a window so they don't get hurt. Garcia enters with the gang members inside the house and asks Colton to give him a USB flash RAM. He told him that the gang would leave him after he gave them the USB flash RAM, but Colton refused and kept provoking Garcia and delaying them in order to make way for his sister and daughter to escape. But Garcia doubted Colton's plan, so he decided to send members of the gang upstairs, but Haley and her mother managed to escape, and Colton stayed alone inside the house. And Colton continues to fight the gang members with great courage. Haley and her mother go to the garage to escape, but suddenly Garcia appears to them and threatens them with weapons. But suddenly Casper appears and kills Garcia because Casper had previously threatened Garcia to kill his family. Casper asks Haley's mom about the USB flash RAM, and she tells him that it's at Colton's. We see here that Colton is still fighting gang members, and he can kill all the gang members. When he goes outside, he sees Haley and her mother being stopped by Casper. So he shoots Casper, and the bullet hits the shield. And he goes to Casper and tells him that he gives him two options, either to hand him over to the police or to kill him. Casper thinks of his son and that he might disgrace his family when they find out that he is a corrupt officer, so he asks Colton to kill him. Colton kills Casper. Then they see the police coming towards them. So Colton gives his sister the USB flash RAM and tells her what it contains and also about the cooperation of some police officers with the gang. And then Colton makes his escape before the police arrive. Here ends the recap of this movie. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I advise you to enter the channel and watch recap of great movies or watch one of these movies.